In early 2013, a murder case in the Bali District of Taiwan shocked the media and public for an extended period. The incident not only drew attention because of the brutal nature of the crime, but also because the victim was an elderly billionaire family. You may have heard of this case before or are just now learning about it, but what are the details of the case? Who is the perpetrator? What was their motive? Stay tuned to this video to uncover the details of this case. Welcome to Crime Documentary Files. On February 26, 2013, a woman named Mo Yun was walking along the Tamsui River area when she stumbled upon a strange object lying near the edge of the mangrove forest. Due to her poor eyesight and the distance, she couldn't clearly see what the object was, only that it was quite large. Curious, she decided to get closer. As she approached, she kept rubbing her eyes to get a clearer view of the object below the bank. Only when she got a clear look did she fall back in shock and scream, drawing the attention of those nearby. A man quickly ran towards the sound of the scream. Mo Yun, trembling, pointed towards the distance and shakily said, "There's a body over there." Understanding the situation, the man quickly called the police and asked others to calm the woman. Within 10 minutes, the police arrived and secured the scene. Upon seeing the body, one officer exclaimed, "Isn't this Mr. Chen Jinfu who was reported missing a few days ago?" The whole team was stunned because just a few days earlier, the victim's family had reported him missing. The police had not found any information yet and now received news of his death. Despite the body being swollen, the facial features were still recognizable. The police then called Mr. Chen's family to inform them. A preliminary investigation revealed that the victim was found at the edge of the mangrove forest beside the Tamsui River. Nearby was a trail where locals often walked or biked. It was possible that the victim had an accident and fell into the Tamsui River, with the body drifting to the shore as the tide receded, exposing it on the mangrove forest floor. At first glance, the police noticed Mr. Chen's body was swollen with many injuries on his body and neck. However, it was difficult to determine with the naked eye whether the injuries were caused by a weapon or environmental factors. The Tamsui River had many sharp rocks beneath its surface, and the mangrove shore had many protruding roots, which could have caused these injuries as the body drifted. Additionally, since the body had been in the water for some time, the wounds were severely decomposed, making it hard to assess them visually. After examining the body, the police noted that the victim's clothes were still relatively new and neatly dressed, suggesting he was on his way to an important event before his death. The victim was not carrying many valuables, still wearing a gold-plated watch on his wrist, and his shoes were still on, making it unlikely he was attacked for money, but rather suggesting an accident. The police also divided themselves to search the area under the river and near the shore, but did not find anything else. More and more local residents gathered around, which somewhat hindered the police's search process. From all the information gathered so far, the police could initially conclude that Mr. Chen Jinfu had fallen into the water after slipping on the easily slippery terrain. After bringing the body back to the forensic examination department, Mr. Chen's family quickly arrived. Upon seeing the police, they immediately asked about the whereabouts of Mrs. Zhang Cuiping, Mr. Chen Jinfu's wife. It turned out that besides Mr. Chen, his wife had also gone missing from the evening of February 16th. At this time, the investigation team was questioning local residents when they received unexpected information. On the night of February 25th, one day before Mr. Chen Jinfu's body was found, a witness reported seeing two people burning paper money by the Tamsui River. However, since burning joss paper for the deceased is not unusual in Taiwan, the witness did not approach them and went straight home. The police immediately sought information about these two strange individuals by checking the surrounding area's cameras. However, because it was dark and the mangrove area along the river lacked surveillance cameras and the residential area cameras did not cover that direction, no information could be found. Despite this, the police remained determined to search by asking local residents if they had seen anyone suspicious that night. In addition to investigating Chen Jinfu's death, the police were under pressure to find Zhang Cuiping. Until now, they still did not know whether Zhang Cuiping was alive or not. Therefore, they divided the investigation team into two smaller groups, one to search for information about Zhang Cuiping, and the other to continue investigating Mr. Chen's case. The next day, the police received information that a woman tried to withdraw money from Zhang Cuiping's bank account at a bank in Changhua County, but failed due to incorrect password entry. She then attempted to withdraw money at the counter, but was refused by the staff, as she appeared much younger than the profile information. At this point, two opinions began to form within the investigation team. Some suspected that Zhang Cuiping could be the mastermind, having dealt with her husband and then sent someone disguised as herself to withdraw money to mislead the police. Others believed that both victims were murdered, with the motive likely being to seize their assets. This latter motive was widely supported, including by the victim's family. Do you know why most people agreed with the second theory? Let's take a break from the investigation to learn about the background of Mr. Chen Jinfu and his wife. After hearing this, you might guess something. Mr. Chen Jinfu, born in 1934, was a wealthy businessman who once taught at Takushoku University in Japan. He owned 2 uninhabited islands in Okinawa, Japan, and numerous properties worth tens of millions of Taiwanese dollars. His wife, Mrs. Zhang Cuiping, born in 1956, was an associate professor at Xie Yihan University, owning jewelry worth 40 million Taiwanese dollars, equivalent to 1.2 million US dollars. The couple currently lived in a villa in Bali District, New Taipei City. Regarding family matters, Mr. Chen Jinfu and his wife had no children, but their relatives and nieces and nephews were very attentive to them. The couple, being elderly, would spend their time traveling together, visiting nearby coffee shops or attending various parties besides their work. This shows that there was no conceivable reason for Zhang Cuiping to harm Mr. Chen. Since February 27th, when the mysterious woman attempted to withdraw money using Zhang Cuiping's bank card, the police divided into smaller groups to investigate the surrounding area's cameras, but still found no leads. However, the team investigating the social relationships of the couple received new information from a distant relative of Mr. Chen. It was revealed that after accumulating a massive fortune, Mr. Chen decided to retire, sell his stores and house in Japan, and live a secluded life with his wife in a small villa by the Tamsui River in Bali District, Taiwan. This area is also where the 2 victims' bodies were discovered. The relative noted that the couple frequently visited a nearby coffee shop for drinks, mainly because it was the only coffee shop in the area. This person also mentioned that Mr. Chen had shared that the couple had long adopted a girl who worked at this coffee shop. Armed with this crucial information, the police immediately visited the mentioned coffee shop. The coffee shop, named Momo Coffee, was located below Mr. Chen Jinfu's villa, only about 130 meters from where Mr. Chen's body was found. The first person the police met was the store manager, Xie Yihan, born in 1985. Mrs. Yihan explained that Mr. Chen had been a regular customer since 2009, often visiting with his wife. The girl the couple adopted was her. Yihan then sat down and recounted the details to the police. She said she started working there in late September 2008. In 2009, she met Mr. Chen and Zhang Cuiping. As they were regular customers, Yihan often chatted with them. One day, they asked about her family. Mr. Chen learned that she was under significant financial pressure due to her father's early death, her sister studying abroad, and her mother working alone in Kaohsiung. Because of this, he offered to adopt Yihan as his daughter. From 2010, Mr. Chen regularly provided financial support, gave jewelry to Yihan, and guided her in stock investments, making her very grateful to the couple. The last time the couple visited the coffee shop was on February 16th, Yihan said. She found it odd that Mr. Chen hadn't visited the shop for several days afterward. Assuming they were traveling, she didn't want to bother them at home. Recently, Yihan had been busy preparing for her wedding, so she didn't have time to call the couple. The police also inquired about other relationships Mr. Chen Jinfu might have had and the coffee shop employees. They asked if anyone else was close to the couple. Xie Yihan responded that because most employees were new, few were familiar with Mr. Chen. The people who knew and frequently talked with the victims were Liu Bingheng, the owner of Momo Coffee, and two shareholders, Oshi Cheng and Zhong Dianfeng. However, compared to the others, owner Liu Bingheng was closer to Mr. Chen. Immediately, Liu Bingheng was summoned by the police for questioning. Upon seeing the police, Mr. Bingheng said, "If you want information about Mr. Chen Jinfu and his wife, you should ask Xie Yihan. She knows more." It seemed that the relationship between Xie Yihan and the couple was very close, to the point of causing jealousy among others. The police then interviewed every employee at the coffee shop, but failed to obtain any useful information. At this point, an officer stepping outside noticed a camera that could capture the entrance to the coffee shop. The police quickly contacted the camera's owner and requested the footage. On February 16th, the footage showed Mr. Chen Jinfu and his wife indeed visiting Momo Coffee. However, there was no footage of them leaving. The police then questioned the employees present at the coffee shop that day, including Xie Yihan's fiancé, Zhu Yifeng, and other acquaintances of the couple. But all they received were responses like, "I don't know." Some said they had to leave early. Others said they were too busy to notice when Mr. Chen and Zhang Cuiping left the shop. This only heightened the police's suspicions about those present. To avoid alerting the suspects, the police began quietly monitoring and observing all employees at Momo Coffee. However, they overlooked one factor. The media was also very interested in this case. The media continuously approached and tried to extract information from the suspects. You might be curious about Zhang Cuiping's whereabouts by now, right? Is Zhang Cuiping still alive? Where was she while news of her husband's death was everywhere? These questions were also troubling the investigation team at that time. On March the 2nd, as the police continued their investigation along the Tamsui River, the unanswered questions finally found answers. While the search team scoured the river area and the mangrove forest edge, an officer searching the swampy area near the bike path on the left bank of the Tamsui River unexpectedly discovered a woman's body. The police quickly gathered at the scene. Even before anyone could check, it seemed everyone already knew the answer. Soon after, the forensic doctors confirmed that the body was indeed Zhang Cuiping. On the same day, the police received a report from Xiqin University that a female student had found Zhang Cuiping's wallet in the women's restroom at the university. Unfortunately for the perpetrator, their attempt to mislead the police had failed. At this point, the employees at Momo Coffee remained the primary suspects. There were a total of 11 people, including 6 store employees and Yihan's boyfriend. The store owner and 2 shareholders had also been interrogated. On March 3rd, the police searched the store and found 3 drops of blood in the kitchen. It was noted that Zhang Cuiping's body had 2 stab wounds on the neck, leading the investigation team to believe the case was far from simple. After the autopsy on March 4th, forensic experts determined that the couple had died after falling into the water and had puncture wounds in their chests. Zhang Cuiping had several 6 cm deep stab wounds in her back and a 6 cm deep wound in her lung. There were also 2 open wounds on her neck. Thus, the injuries on Mr. Chen, initially thought to be caused by underwater objects, were likely inflicted by the perpetrator. Additionally, forensic examination found a residual amount of anesthetic in the stomachs of both victims, indicating they had been drugged and then attacked while incapacitated before being dumped into the Tamsui River. However, the police still could not identify the perpetrator. The only certainty was that the culprit was among the 11 people at Momo Coffee. To avoid any investigative misdirection, the police continually questioned and examined the recent activities of each individual. First was the adopted daughter, Xie Yihan. As initially stated to the police, Yihan and her fiancé, Zhu Yifeng, were planning their wedding. Yihan had been financially supported by the Chen couple for over 3 years. Despite the assistance, she did not take it for granted and worked hard, earning Mr. Chen's increasing affection. Given her imminent wedding, it was hard to believe she had the motive to commit murder. Furthermore, during questioning, Yihan remained calm and provided detailed answers to the police's questions. She supplied extensive information and expressed her desire for the police to quickly find the murderer of her foster parents. The second group of suspects were the store owner, Liu Bingheng, and the 2 shareholders, Xicheng, and Zhang Dianfeng. During questioning, Xie Yihan provided the police with a suspicious detail. The three were planning to invest in a new store despite Momo Coffee's thriving business. After hearing the police's suspicions, Lu Bingheng admitted that he had asked to borrow money from Mr. Chen Jinfu. However, since it was a significant amount, Mr. Chen initially refused, but mentioned he would reconsider. Additionally, on the day Mr. and Mrs. Chen went missing, all three individuals had alibis. The remaining coffee shop employees were also questioned by the police, but since they were not close to the victims, no useful information could be obtained. Without any solid evidence, the police could not detain them, and eventually had to release everyone under the investigators' supervision. As mentioned earlier, this case also attracted significant media attention. Even before the police could investigate further, the media had caught wind of the case. They conducted interviews in and around the coffee shop. Reporters asked questions to the store manager, Xie Yihan, who calmly responded. A reporter asked, "What did they usually do when they came here?" Yihan replied, "Just drink coffee and walk by the river." The reporter continued, "Did they have any arguments when they left that day?" Yihan answered, "No, they didn't." As you can see, cases involving media attention often create additional pressure on the police investigation, right? Given the timeline's complexity, I'll summarize the key events again to avoid confusion. On the evening of February 16, 2013, Chen Jinfu and Zhang Cuiping went to Momo Coffee in Bali for drinks and then disappeared. On February 20th, their family reported them missing to the police. On the night of February 25th, the day before Chen Jinfu's body was discovered, witnesses reported seeing two people burning joss paper by the Tamsui River. On February 26th, the wealthy businessman Chen Jinfu's body was found by the Tamsui River in Bali, 130 meters from the coffee shop. Initially, the police concluded he had fallen into the water after slipping. On February 27th, after the incident with Mr. Chen Jinfu, a woman impersonating Zhang Cuiping attempted to withdraw money using her bank card at Jianghua Bank, but failed due to incorrect password entry. On March 2nd, Zhang Cuiping's body was found by the Tamsui River in Bali District, New Taipei City. That same day, her wallet was discovered in the women's restroom at Xiqian University. The police then determined that the perpetrator was deliberately trying to mislead the investigation. On March 3rd, the police searched Momo Coffee and found 3 drops of blood in the store's kitchen. Without lab results, they couldn't determine who the blood belonged to. On March 4th, the prosecutors conducted autopsies and discovered deep wounds on the neck and chest. There were no signs of water in the victims' airways, indicating they had died before being thrown into the river. So far, the police have narrowed down the suspects but lack conclusive evidence. Who do you think the perpetrator could be? Xie Yihan, her boyfriend Zhu Yifeng, Lu Bingheng, Xicheng, Zhong Dianfeng, or one of the 6 employees who the police least suspect? At around 4 a.m. on March 6th, a reporter from Liberty Times visited the coffee shop for an interview and happened to see Xicheng and Zhong Dianfeng cleaning up the baking room and storage late at night. Curious, the reporter approached them, but they only said they were cleaning up trash. Later that day, a bank employee from Jianghua County went to the police station and said that the woman suspected by the media looked very similar to the woman who tried to withdraw money the previous day. The police quickly showed her photos of the female employees at the coffee shop. She immediately pointed to a picture of a young woman. It was none other than Xie Yihan. Combining the bank employee's information and the reporter's account, the police were certain that Xie Yihan was the perpetrator and suspected Xicheng and Zhong Dianfeng of colluding to destroy evidence. On the afternoon of March 6th, the police arrived at the coffee shop to arrest Xie Yihan. Despite the police's suspicions and evidence, Xie Yihan insisted she had nothing to do with the case. She repeatedly expressed her gratitude towards Mr. Chen Jinfu and his wife and maintained that she had no motive to harm them. Seeing their trusted manager being arrested for questioning, owner Lu Bingheng, who was auditing accounts at the time, found it hard to believe. He doubted the police's lead and remarked to his wife, "Could this be a mistake?" Little did he know, he would soon find himself caught in the storm as well. At the police station, Xie Yihan steadfastly denied the charges. The police, unconvinced by her strong defense, showed her the autopsy photos of the victims. The sight of the photos broke her composure. She vomited, cried, and repeatedly apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." After calming down, Xie Yihan confessed everything. She admitted that Mr. Chen frequently visited the coffee shop and intended to adopt her. Recently, Lu Bingheng faced financial difficulties and, knowing the Chen couple's wealth, conspired with shareholders Ou Shicheng and Zhong Dianfeng to commit the crime. Yihan confessed that Lu Bingheng was the mastermind, and she agreed to the plan for a large sum of money. Aware that Zhang Cuiping always carried bank cards, savings books, and seals, Yihan lured the Chen couple to the shop on the night of February 16th. She spiked their drinks with a sedative and, as Zhang Cuiping was about to lose consciousness, forced her into a car to demand her bank card's PIN. When Zhang Cuiping resisted, Yihan killed her. Lu Bingheng and the others then took the bodies to Zhong Dianfeng's rented house. After the family reported the couple missing and the police began searching, the four conspirators decided to dispose of the bodies by dumping them along the riverbank about 130 meters from the coffee shop on February 26th and March 2nd, 2013. At 4 a.m. on March 7th, just after Lu Bingheng finished auditing the books and opened the store, he was greeted by a barrage of flashing lights. Reporters repeatedly asked, "Why did you kill Chen Jinfu and his wife?" Shortly afterward, Lu Bingheng was taken away by the police. He entered the police station without knowing what lay ahead. Lu Bingheng greeted the shareholders who were also in custody, only to be scolded by the police for potentially conspiring to confess. The police then arranged for Bingheng to meet directly with Xie Yihan, but she could not bring herself to look him in the eye. Outside the police station, the front page of that day's newspaper was filled with news of Xie Yihan's confession. She claimed that the death of Mr. and Mrs. Chen Jinfu was due to the owner's greed. While she admitted to committing murder, she insisted she was merely a pawn. There was also information suggesting that, feeling guilty, Xie Yihan had gone to the riverbank to burn something for the deceased. Do you remember that a day before Mr. Chen's body was found, someone was seen burning joss paper? When the police visited the joss paper shop mentioned in Xie Yihan's confession, the shop owner confirmed her statement, adding that a man accompanied Xie Yihan that day, and that man was Lu Bingheng. The witness testimonies were quickly verified. Additionally, on that day, Lu Bingheng and the other two had their mobile phones turned off for an extended period. Both the police and the media believed Xie Yihan's story, thinking it unlikely that a girl like her could have overpowered two people simultaneously. As there was no direct evidence, the Taiwanese media fueled the fire, portraying the three owners as the main culprits. Suddenly, Lu Bingheng and his family were left in shock, going from cooperating with the investigation to becoming prime suspects. You must understand that the accusations against Lu Bingheng, Zhong Dianfeng, and Ou Shicheng were solely based on Xie Yihan's testimony, with no concrete evidence. To find proof, the police searched for surveillance cameras around the area. However, no surveillance footage showed Lu Bingheng and the others burning joss paper, nor were there any traces of weapons or blood-stained clothing found in or around the coffee shop. Unexpectedly, the very next day, Xie Yihan retracted her confession, claiming her initial statement was false and that the police had forced her to confess. At that moment, Lu Bingheng and the other two were released on bail and soon regained their freedom. Upon returning home, Lu Bingheng still felt like a sudden suspect. He used the coffee shop's social media account to explain the situation, only to receive thousands of abusive comments from netizens. To prove his innocence as soon as possible, Lu Bingheng decided not to wait for the police to verify the facts. He retrieved the surveillance footage from the coffee shop to uncover the truth. Upon reviewing the footage, they indeed saw Xie Yihan meeting the two victims that night. After returning to the shop, Lu Bingheng also found a necklace and a pearl ring in Xie Yihan's desk. He immediately took pictures and sent them to Zhang Cuiping's family, who confirmed that the jewelry belonged to the victim. On April 2nd, Lu Bingheng submitted the information he had gathered to the police, and finally, the three of them were cleared from the list of suspects. As for Xie Yihan, she was prosecuted on April 12th on 5 criminal charges: robbery and murder, fraudulent appropriation of property, theft causing injury, and perjury. After failing to pin the blame on the 3 men, Yihan continued to change her statements. In her third account, Yihan claimed that Mr. Chen offered her 6 million Taiwanese dollars, equivalent to $185,000 USD, and a house to kill his wife. Then she said she was in a romantic relationship with him and he wanted to kill his wife, so he asked for her help. She initially only wanted to rob Zhang Cuiping, but was incited by Mr. Chen to commit murder. Finally, Yihan claimed she wanted to escape Mr. Chen's harassment and marry her boyfriend, so she pretended to cooperate with him to kill his wife and then planned to kill both of them. Xie Yihan began to detail her relationship with the victim. She said that Chen Jinfu did not use a mobile phone, but only a landline. When he wanted to meet her, he would either speak to her directly or visit the store. They arranged to meet at 1 or 2 in the morning, and later, even earlier. After waiting for his wife to fall asleep, Chen Jinfu would go to meet Yihan. She had to lie to her boyfriend, saying she needed to sleep early. Yihan stated that after each encounter, Chen Jinfu would give her red envelopes containing tens of thousands of Taiwanese dollars. Additionally, he gave her jewelry, such as jade pendants or pearl necklaces. Xie Yihan said that as she prepared to marry her boyfriend, she decided to end her illicit relationship with Chen Jinfu and told Zhang Cuiping about it. However, Zhang Cuiping seemed indifferent to the news. After that, Chen Jinfu said he had a poor relationship with his wife, Zhang Cuiping, and wanted to regain financial control of the family. Some time ago, Mr. Chen asked her to kill Zhang Cuiping, promising, "I will buy a house and give you 6 million Taiwanese dollars in cash." Xie Yihan continued, saying that neither her mother nor her boyfriend knew about her relationship with Mr. Chen. She wanted to end it, but Zhang Cuiping was indifferent. Moreover, if she only killed Mr. Chen, Zhang Cuiping would know she was the culprit, so Yihan's plan was to kill both of them. Yihan emphasized that she chose the stupidest way to resolve the situation to sever the inappropriate relationship between her and Mr. Chen. The prosecution later confirmed that Yihan and Mr. Chen had a close relationship but found no evidence of a romantic affair. After all her false statements, Xie Yihan finally confessed to the crime. The story began in October 2012. One day in October, Xie Yihan went to a pharmacy below her apartment and said that her mother had passed away. She did not get along with her stepfather. They often argued, and she was so distressed that she couldn't sleep. She was prescribed sleeping pills. Xie Yihan returned to the pharmacy a second time and was given 21 sleeping pills. Besides the sleeping pills, after learning that Zhang Cuiping stored jewelry worth 40 million Taiwanese dollars in a safe deposit box at the new Taipei City Farmers Association, Xie Yihan rented a safe deposit box from the association just to see what the key looked like. A week before the crime, Xie Yihan visited Chen Jinfu's house and tested the effects of the sleeping pills on him. She gave Mr. Chen water with sleeping pills and waited for him to fall asleep before searching for Zhang Cuiping's safe deposit box, but her search was unsuccessful. Xie Yihan had no choice but to leave Mr. Chen's house. In early February 2013, unable to find the safe deposit box key, Xie Yihan signed up for Zhang Cuiping's yoga class and adjusted her schedule to avoid clashing with Zhang Cuiping's class. This made it easier for her to search Zhang Cuiping's bag for the safe deposit key. As she hoped, Xie Yihan succeeded this time. She obtained the key to the Farmers Association's safe deposit center, but the transaction officer refused to open the box without proper identification. On February 16th, after several failed attempts to rob the Chen couple, Xie Yihan decided to see it through to the end. On that day, she invited Mr. and Mrs. Chen Jinfu to the coffee shop to celebrate Lu Bingheng's youngest son's first birthday. At 7:15 p.m. that evening, the Chen couple arrived to find no preparations for a birthday party. Upon asking the owner, they learned the party was scheduled for the following week. To apologize, Liu Bingheng offered them 2 cans of homemade beer and excused himself. Xie Yihan also served them drinks and invited the couple to sit down. By 7:30 p.m., Zhang Cuiping began to feel dizzy. Mr. Chen, noticing his wife's condition, asked Yihan to help take her home to rest. At 8:30 p.m., Mr. Chen seemed overly intoxicated, and Yihan again helped him leave the coffee shop. Both times, Yihan took them out through the back door, so the police did not see the couple leaving the coffee shop on the front cameras. Instead of taking them home, she led them to the mangrove forest by the Tamsui River. As the tide was about to rise, Yihan initially planned to leave the unconscious couple by the riverbank before the tide came in, allowing the rising water to drown them and make it look like they had fallen into the river. Unexpectedly, Chen Jinfu woke up early due to an insufficient dose of sleeping pills and weakly asked what Yihan was doing. Realizing her plan was exposed, Yihan grabbed a fruit knife she had prepared and attacked Mr. Chen multiple times, covering his mouth to prevent him from screaming. After Mr. Chen died, Yihan turned to Zhang Cuiping with the knife, using the same method to stab her in the neck and chest until she stopped breathing. Yihan then dragged both bodies to the river, allowing the rising tide to submerge them before leaving the scene with Zhang Cuiping's wallet. Covered in mud and blood, she changed into a spare set of clothes she had prepared in the staff room. When the staff on duty arrived, she explained, "I accidentally fell into the river while dumping coffee grounds." The next day, Xie Yihan, eager to complete the plan, wore a wig, dressed in Zhang Cuiping's clothes, and applied makeup to look older. She took Zhang Cuiping's bank card and ID to the bank counter to withdraw money, stealing 350,000 Taiwanese dollars, equivalent to over $10,000 USD. Once the real perpetrator was identified, reconstructing the case became straightforward. Many witnesses, including Yihan's yoga instructor, the taxi driver who took her to the bank, and the bank clerk who handled the transaction, provided a complete chain of evidence. Since her arrest in March 2013, Xie Yihan had given 4 different confessions. Initially, she blamed the owners, claiming she was merely following orders. Then, she stated that neither she nor the owners were involved, and that the police coerced her into giving a false confession. On April 15th, she changed her story again, saying Mr. Chen wanted to kill Zhang Cuiping, and she killed both of them to escape her illicit relationship with him. Finally, at her trial on May 21st, she changed her testimony once more, claiming she acted alone but indeed had a romantic relationship with Chen Jinfu. To prove their closeness, she described physical features of Chen Jinfu, such as freckles on his back and arms, white chest hair, and a scar on his thigh. However, the report showed Chen Jinfu had no such scars. As for the freckles, they are common in older adults and could not be used as evidence of a close relationship. In the end, Xie Yihan's confession was deemed baseless and unreliable. In October 2013, Xie Yihan was sentenced to death for robbery and murder. Upon hearing the word death from the judge, Xie Yihan, initially calm, broke down crying, saying she did not expect such a severe punishment. She said, "If there is a hell, I am willing to go there to atone for my sins." So, the case concluded with the real perpetrator facing appropriate punishment. However, rumors and debates about the suspects persisted. Some even believed Xie Yihan's boyfriend was involved. Over time, these controversies faded, and the case gradually disappeared from public attention. Thank you for joining us today. See you in our next videos. Please like and subscribe to the Crime Documentary Files channel to hear about real-life crime stories from around the world.